Around 10 a.m., the sky darkened as if an eclipse was about to happen. The wind picked up, carrying sheets of rain that lashed straight into people's faces. Within just a few short minutes, the streets began to flood. Typhoon signal number 10 was issued, later than everyone had hoped. We saw water pouring into our house before there was any warning at all. By the time I received the emergency alert, the water was already up to my waist. Typhoon Waifa, initially expected to pass offshore, suddenly changed course. And when it hit Hong Kong, it brought wind gusts of 234 kilometers per hour and rain that fell like the sky had split open. Over 110 millimeters of rain fell in just 3 hours, enough to submerge any street that hadn't yet drained. Even famous places like Disneyland and major shopping malls had to shut down. Cultural events, fairs, and exhibitions were all canceled in an instant. More than 250 people had to evacuate to temporary shelters, crowding into gymnasiums, classrooms, and apartment lobbies. Hong Kong is one of the most developed cities in Asia, but in the face of nature, all technology and response plans seem meaningless without early preparedness. Bridges collapsed, roofs were torn off, cars swept away, people missing. Though there's no official damage estimate yet, just walking through a few streets makes it clear this wasn't just a storm. It was a direct blow to public trust. Major streets were flooded above knee level. Cars stalled and lay scattered, as if knocked over by some unseen force in the rushing water. Buses were stranded on bridges, while motorbikes were left in disarray in submerged parking garages. Street-side shops taped X's across their glass doors and stacked sandbags at the entrance, but it still couldn't stop the raging water from crashing in like a broken dam. Everything inside floated in chaos. In residential areas, people didn't know whether to run to the rooftop or out into the street. Outside was water. Inside, water was also creeping in through the floors, the bathrooms, and seemingly harmless cracks. Power flickered, and many areas experienced complete blackouts. The sight of a high-rise building shrouded in darkness in broad daylight sent chills down everyone's spine. The public loudspeakers blared warnings, too late, then fell silent. Rescue teams couldn't reach many severely flooded areas because the current was too strong. Police, firefighters, and medical teams, all were overwhelmed. They arrived, then quickly moved on to the next emergency. Residents had to help each other, carrying the elderly upstairs, sharing bottles of drinking water, and tying down windows with ropes against the gusting wind. The bright city lights were gone. The blaring horns had fallen silent. A modern city, suddenly felt fragile, as if just one more downpour could wipe everything away. From riverside neighborhoods and flooded low-lying streets, the muddy water began rushing toward the estuary, surging like a reverse tsunami. Everything in its path was swept away. Trash bins, broken trees, and motorbikes floated aimlessly. Planks of wood, floorboards, even tarps from street stalls, all spun wildly in the raging current. Tires, signboards, even stainless steel tables and chairs from roadside eateries, all were dragged toward the sea, as if a massive invisible force was pulling everything into the open water. Water from dozens of canals, drains, and small streams converged into a powerful flow, all rushing out to sea at once. From above, you could see murky patches of water spreading across the bluish-gray ocean, like blood seeping from a wound that refuses to stop bleeding. At the breakwaters, where you'd normally hear the steady rhythm of waves, there was now a battle between the floodwaters rushing out and the crashing sea waves coming in. The two currents collided,